Hellos. How is everybody? Happy, what's today? Monday. We are here for our anchor message for the week, which is a look at sort of our spiritual lessons that we are going to be working with and expanding on. And like last night on Sunday nights, what we do is the energy oracle forecast for the week. So we kind of look at the overall energy for the week ahead and what the conditions will kind of be. And so Monday's reading is all about what are the assignments from headquarters, if you know what I mean. Cool. So from the wild unknown archetypes, we got the crone, we got Thanatos, and we got the prayer. And then from the tarot, underneath crone, we got the 9 of Swords, which I loved this artwork. When I pulled this card, I had never pulled this card out of this deck yet, and it really struck me. Like, the 9 of Swords usually depicts someone who's just up at night, like sitting up in bed having like a night terror or like a panic attack or an anxiety attack. And, you know, the card talks about needless worry that's keeping you up at night. But the key word here is needless worry, that your mind has kind of gotten out of control. And the thing that really is the only thing to fear in this situation is the fear itself, which is starting to create its own energy and can, you know, snowball into a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I loved the eyeballs all over her back, like she's constantly watching her back. And I mean, that feeling, that guarded feeling that we've had, you know, probably built up in our defense mechanisms, you know, from our subconscious just to protect our heart. You know, yesterday's reading, we talked about the uncovering of the heart and the, you know, digging deep in through, you know, tough outer layers and exposing hidden depths of joy, pain, and pleasure, and desire, and dread, and fear, and all kinds of things. So, you know, all of that pain left over in the outer, you know, layers of that negativity around the heart, it's been causing us to feel like we have to like look, you know, watch our backs all the time. We're always looking over our shoulder, you know, making sure nothing's coming to get us. And so, yeah, it just like really struck me. It's like she's up in the night, you know, she's tired and dreamy like state, but it's like she can't really rest because she always feels like she has to keep an eye out, looking out for herself. But I do feel like this phase is coming to an end because it was under crone, and we'll get more into that in a minute. Under Thanatos, we got 6 of Wands, which is very positive, very exciting. And then underneath prayer, we pulled the Justice card, a major arcana. So I feel like this is a huge initiation right now and a turning point this week into that new beginning. So back to this 9 of Swords. I feel that we've been walking through these initiations in stages, right? Like we get through one sort of veil and we've walked into another sort of like foyer, and we go through another veil and there's another sort of, you know, initiation that we're going through. And so, you know, our culmination of 2022, the moving of Saturn into Pisces, the moving of Pluto from Pisces, from Capricorn into Aquarius, all of those things were culminating. You know, Pisces season had us digging deep. The end of 22 was supposed to really like do the overhaul so we could really get, you know, really clear the grounds and have a really nice, clean, sturdy, stable, level foundation to build on. And part of that is just the last few weeks we've been facing these lifelong tests and patterns, and it hasn't been easy. And so don't feel don't feel bad if you've been emotional about it, because I know that sometimes, you know, when we're trying to practice certainty and we're trying to practice mindfulness and we are trying to practice, you know, having faith and being positive and optimistic and resilient and strong. And the thing is, we sometimes tend to interpret that as almost making us feel like we're afraid that when we have bad days, when we get down, when we get sad, when we get afraid, like it's going to be a complete setback. And it's not. You know, we need to honor those feelings and be with them in the moment. But we can feel them and just say out loud, you know, I feel this way, but like I choose the thought of certainty. Like I pick certainty even in the midst of these feelings. And even if you don't feel certain, your choice of certainty, even with those feelings, right, is going to count. And it's okay to express those feelings in prayer to Creator, right? Because you can't lie to the omnipresent consciousness within all that is. Like, you're just telling the truth vibrationally anyway. It's better to purge the vessel. We need to cleanse that and keep it cleansed. And so the best way to do the purging of the vessel, like getting all of this like pain off your chest and all of your worries, right? Casting your lot, you know, casting your yoke upon the Lord, or whatever that the saying is, or the phrase talking about, like casting your burdens upon the Lord. It's like, just give them over. You know, King David would have some really pretty intense prayers. Sometimes he would be, you know, talking about how much he couldn't stand his enemy and how he wanted like God to just destroy his enemies. And sometimes David would wring his hands, you know, fists at the heavens, and, you know, be angry with God and you know, ask him why he was going through certain things. And he was very honest and very passionate, but he never held back. And so you can really offload a lot of this through your prayer, right? And devotion, and let it pass through you and try to digest it, and don't be afraid of it. And instead of trying to suppress it or push it down or pretend it's not there, right? We need to see this and feel this in order to get it out, in order for it to be released. And so that I feel like we're in the final little bit of this process. And we've come to a point now where I feel like the universe is just really acknowledging us for all that we've come through, all the fears that we've faced, all the insecurities that we've been able to sit with in this discomfort, in order to really witness that about ourselves and heal from it. And, you know, start telling a different story, start rewriting our perception, and start rewriting the consciousness that we want to move forward with. I put in some eye drops and now I'm having like a weird reaction, making my eyes all uncomfortable. Yeah, and so having come through this process, we're coming to the other side of it. We're coming through this initiation, this portal, and I feel like the universe is really acknowledging us for this and giving us like props, and just saying like I've seen how far you've come. And I think that we've been kind of on some level in our journey crowned the crone, from a perspective of our conscious evolution and our growth. We've come a long way, and we're wiser now. And we have sort of come to a point where we've come through so many ego deaths over and over and over again, that we're now just too tired to keep fighting against everything all the time. And whereas we used to think of surrendering to the will of God as something that we dreaded or didn't want to do, or something that made us scared, or what we wanted to rebel against, because we didn't want to be obedient or subservient. But it's like now it's like, oh my gosh, surrendering to the will of God almost sounds like a relief and a release, a sweet release, because it's like, wow, I don't have to do all the work. You know, like there's a divine plan and order for my life. And if I surrender into it and trust, I know that that plan is going to unfold in a way that's going to bring me even more fulfillment than anything that I've been trying to push or force on my own, by my own efforts, you know, by my own will. You know, you might be trying to force things in your life that aren't going to be like that satisfying for you in the end. And you just can't see that because you can't see the whole picture, right? You can only see your limited perspective. So as the crone, we've learned to be wise. And I did want to read the crone. I have it opened up. Let's see. The crone. I feel like my eyelids are going to swell and like my eyes are very aggravated. They're having like an allergic reaction. The witch, the old woman, the sage. The crone has seen it all. Nothing frightens or surprises her. She is the final manifestation in the feminine trifecta of maiden, mother, crone. In her long life, she's witnessed endless cycles of death, sex, failure, rebirth, conflict, and regeneration, giving her the ability to rise above the world of duality. She laughs at notions of good or bad, right or wrong, as she has seen the earth churning, smoldering, taking life and giving life. The crone energy accepts everything in, devouring beauty and suffering with the same mouth, using their energy to reveal hidden secrets and knowledge. Her energy resides in all of us, though it is feared by most for its power and unconventional relationship with death and the macabre. Awakening the crone is dangerously rich and unapologetically magic. When light, magic, clairvoyant, psychic, intuitive, wise. When dark, vindictive, bitter, isolated, ostracized. Go deeper. Dimavati, I'm not familiar, so I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Hecate, Baba Yaga, and Lilith. The crone has a difficult time tolerating superficial, petty, day-to-day musings. She moves away from such relationships and seeks a deeper path, even if this means a more solitary life. The crone is the master of letting go and residing in what is. She rejects nothing. The crone is often seen with the crow, smoke, night, and the moon. I about fell over when I read that because the other day, if you guys watched, I think it was the Thirsty Thursday romance reading, I had filmed from the woods, and that day, I felt like the trees were asking me to bring frankincense and myrrh out into the woods and have them smoking on my whole walk. And I just felt like that was part of the demands of the forest that day. And it's so funny because there's a path that I walk that I feel I associate with Hecate, the maiden mother, and crone energy, and I have this sort of meditation and connection I do in that area, and it's where my bench is, and there's some stones that are along that path that are kind of associated with Hecate, and there's some other just random little things that happen over there, but that's interesting that the crone is associated with smoke, because I feel like sometimes that energy of the maiden mother crone, the divine mother, shows up in the form of the energy itself is just the divine feminine, supernal mother, that part of the Godhead. But, these things, these supernal archetypal energies can manifest in these more anthropomorphic characterized forms, like Hecate, for instance. And so sometimes I feel that the supernal mother does put little things on my path in that area, and so it's just interesting that I feel like she kind of interacts with me in the forest as well as the trees. And I just thought it was funny when it said that she was associated with smoke. I was like, oh, maybe she wanted me to bring smoke that day, and I did. Yeah, okay, so next we have Thanatos, which Thanatos, I could go ahead and read that too, is death. It's the archetype of death. And I feel that because we have it paired with Six of Wands, I feel like this is a signal of our victory over the cycles of ego death that we have been going through again and again and again and again. It's just left us like just a vapor, really. But we've transcended, to some degree, to some level, right? We've up-leveled and we've transcended the ego, maybe not completely, but to some degree. It's very exciting. So the more that we transcend that ego, the more that we break those shells of negativity through our healing, through our forgiveness work, through our compassion, through our self-forgiveness, through our self-compassion, through the forgiveness and compassion that we give to others. Because we're in the vibration of the resonance of those virtues. It's incoming and outgoing, right? We're either in resonance with it or we're not. So, but yeah, we've as we shed these layers, it's like we reveal the light of the Creator that dwells within us, that is our spirit. And that spirit is eternal and immortal and perfect and completely whole and has everything within it, just like the light does. And so the more we break through those layers of negativity that keep that concealed, that light can pour out of us, and it pours into our consciousness as well. And we start to feel the truth of our eternal core. And we start to understand that what we see is not as permanent and solid and definite as it looks. That what's really the real reality is beyond this. And it's the non-physical. And when the physical goes away, there's still going to be this consciousness in the non-physical. And so death is inconsequential. This body is, once we take it off, we're going to wake up and have another one on, right? Reincarnating into another life. And so we have everlasting life. And after we're finished incarnating in this life, our consciousness will have transcended into a new level of being. So we're really having victory over death. We are transcending death on a conscious level of understanding that it's only ever an illusion. There's nothing to fear. That when we ascend and arise in our consciousness in this body, it's like from our Secret Teachings of Jesus video on Saturday. Christ arose in consciousness and then died, then was sacrificed, and then resurrected from there, because he arose in his consciousness and didn't even need the body anymore. So when they killed the body, it was like, it was already given. I don't even need my body. And so that's how he was already resurrected before the body ever even died. And that's what we are trying to model. That's what Jesus was showing us. We're trying to ascend, right, in our consciousness, to transcend the fear of death, right, to free ourselves of it, to know that we this body is great, but we will go on after this. This is temporary. But this is also, to be cherished and to be respected, this moment here in this life, in this physical, because this is the only place where we can transmute and alchemize darkness into light, right? And this is the privilege of being in this body, is that all the darkness that we change within ourselves would have been recycled around the cosmos forever, perpetuating more darkness, right? In a domino effect. But when we change that in ourselves and we can heal it and shift it and transmute it, it's like we have forever turned darkness into light in this universe. And we can only do that when we're here incarnated in the physical, right? The spiritual realm can help influence us and assist us, but they're not able to do their own work. We're here doing the work. This is where the arena is. This is where all the action is. And so we have been, acknowledged for having come through this long period of difficult cycle after cycle after cycle victoriously. And we have died to the old self. We have died to the old ways of the past, and we are resurrecting and becoming renewed and restored. And I think that that's what this, through our prayers and through our devotion and through our constant like showing up and our discipline and our determination to keep giving and keep transforming and keep healing and keep sharing and keep showing up to our God-given purpose and keep trying to find what that is and keep trying to, you know, contribute to making, you know, this life and this world a better place along with ourselves, right? We're not just doing this transformation for the sake of receiving for ourselves alone. We're literally trying to be the change we want to see in the world so that it has a domino effect and actually makes the world lighter and lighter and lighter. So through our prayer, through our devotion, through these actions of this spiritual alchemy that we've been devoted to, the healing is like, we're coming to the end of this cycle, and the Justice card is like a symbol that like it's all going to balance out. What we've been paying into in our spiritual bank account, even though we haven't seen these results yet, it's not all for naught. All our blessings, we're going to be made whole. You know, the scales are equal here, equal give and take. And all this that we've put in, we're going to get even more in return. We're holding on to that sword of truth, that higher truth that we have worked so hard to attain through these trials and tribulations for the sake of our revelation, right? So in Hebrew, the idea of justice means that there's enough for everyone, that there's enough to go around, that there's equitability available for all, and everyone's taken care of. And so I really feel that this is such a positive reading. It's like you have overcome these fears, you have faced these fears, you've faced all these insecurities, and because of this, we've become like the sage, the crone, where we've seen so much that we're not too easily afraid anymore. We're starting to feel more stable and secure and starting to have affinity, or starting to grasp the idea of having affinity with the light of the Creator in terms of eternity, which is not so much always has been, always will be, like on a linear timeline, but eternal to me has taken on a meaning of being perpetual and unwavering and unchanging, which is, I think, very powerful, that perpetual, unwavering, unchanging. You know, the more that we can be like that, the more powerful of an influence that we are in any room that we're in. And it doesn't matter if someone has more status than you or more of an advantage in so many different ways. But if your energy and your mindset and your consciousness is set on cruise control and it's unchanging, you will be the most powerful influence in the room every time. Yeah, and I think that things are gonna go well, and that like when we get the Judgment card, it usually signifies that there's been a positive ruling in your favor. And I feel like this is not only like, because we didn't get the Judgment Arcana card, Major Arcana card, which would signify, you know, like major, like heavenly judgment and our own like awakening and revelation, like on the biggest level, which I think is true here. I think that heaven has made a judgment call on this, and it's like you're passing to the next level. Like, I think by naming us the crone, it's like we've been crowned in that level of consciousness, that higher level of maturity. And so, yes, the Justice card is like our heavenly hosts, like awarding us with like, yes, we're ruling in your favor. You've passed these trials. You've successfully passed this level, and now you're going to go on to the next level. Just we're in an interim right now, where we're not quite in the next start. You know, it's just like we're just out of this last phase, and so we're kind of in a limbo at the moment. So have patience. things are really going to start developing and turning around. I can already feel the energy shifting. It's just that last couple of weeks, they were pretty tough. We've been so busy at work too, like crazy busy, and also understaffed, and so we've all been pretty insane. And if you've been trying to reach out to me, I know a couple of people have reached out about booking readings, and I haven't gotten to get back to you yet because of channel stuff and work, but I've got a couple of days off coming up that I can get back to you and we can book something. And just people, thank you for comments on videos and on my posts on social media, on Instagram. If you don't follow me there, it's Liz_Taylor_Magick. And you can read our posts on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, kind of midday before we come and talk about them at night. And take a look at the description box below. I did cut and paste our the written blog from the post today in case you didn't see it, because it was a really good write-up and it was a different sort of angle from what we talked about tonight, but it is worth giving it a read. It's not very long. Otherwise, like this video, subscribe to my channel. Thank you everybody that has subscribed recently. I'm trying to get to those first 1,000 subscribers so I can monetize. I need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours per year. And I am, I guess, about a quarter of the way through in both categories. So any minute you can get a good surge if you get in that algorithm, and likes and comments and shares certainly help, and subscribes. So thank you guys for all that you've been doing to help me out. And yeah, if you've sent me a message or a text recently, I'll be getting back to you. I've been really busy. All right, y'all, ciao.